Good evening, parents, and welcome to Oakview Elementary's 2021-22 Kindergarten Orientation. We are really excited that you're joining us this evening. We know that this is not a typical format, but we certainly wanted the opportunity to do some type of live format with you so that it could be a little bit more interactive and so that you would have the opportunity to have some of your questions about kindergarten answered. I'm Meredith Welch, Assistant Principal at Oakview Elementary. This is my third year at the school. I also have three of our kindergarten teachers joining us this evening. Mary Catherine Young is on camera with me. And on another camera in the room, we have two of our other kindergarten teachers. I'm going to take a minute to let them introduce themselves to you and just give a little bit of background.
I'm Mary Catherine Young, and I have been teaching for 6 years, and I love teaching at Oakview. My own children go to Oakview. It's a wonderful school, and I'm thrilled to see your kids next year.
Hey, I'm Lauren Connor. This is also my 6th year teaching, and I actually attended Oakview as a student.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Cook, and this is my 10th year of teaching, but my 2nd year at Oakview, and it's definitely good to be home, and we can't wait to have your child in the fall.
All right, to start us off in just a moment, we're going to share a welcome message by our amazing principal, Dr. Philip Revis. He was not able to join us this evening for our live orientation, but he certainly wanted to welcome you and let you know how excited he is and how excited our faculty and staff are to welcome your kindergartners in August. So at this time, we're going to play a video for you, and then we are going to get into our presentation to tell you a little bit about your child's experience in kindergarten come August 2021.
Good evening, Oakview parents. I'm Philip Revis, principal here at Oakview Elementary School. Welcome to Kindergarten Parent Orientation. The excitement has been building for us, and I'm sure for you too, as we all approach the kindergarten year. It's time for big school, and we look forward to having your children with us in August of 2021. Well, the purpose for tonight is for you to learn more about the kindergarten schedule, a typical day in kindergarten. Maybe learn about afternoon transportation, or about lunch, or the extended day program. All of those things and more will be shared during tonight's parent orientation. More detailed information about your specific child's classroom will be shared at Meet the Teacher as we get back into the school year in the fall. But tonight, our intent is to give you a good overview of what will occur during the kindergarten year here at Oakview. For some of you, you're returning Oakview parents, and we welcome you back. We look forward to having your next child here with us. And for many of you, you're brand new to Oakview. We welcome you to our family. We're a large school, but one of the strong traditions here at this school, and it is rooted in our culture, is a family atmosphere that you will feel immediately when you come to the View. So we look forward to beginning that family relationship with you tonight. Please join us again as we get ready for kindergarten. Now, one question that's on everybody's mind, and that is, what's going to happen in the fall of 2021 when we open school? Will those COVID protocols, plexiglass or masking or social distancing, will those things continue to be in place? Well, at this point, no decision has been made by Greenville County Schools, but please stay tuned to more information. My suspicion is that that decision will not be able to occur until the summer before school starts. The reason for that late decision is to make sure that Greenville County Schools can make the most accurate and dependable decision based on community spread and other factors at that point in time. Making a decision right now would be way too soon, so our school district has always been very conservative in that regard, and making that decision up to the last possible moment so that we can provide the most access to school for all the children. So again, stay tuned to all communications coming out from Greenville County Schools as we approach the opening of next school year. Well, again, welcome. We hope you enjoy this evening. If at any point you have a question, please reach out to me, one of our administrators, or a kindergarten teacher. We're happy to help you. And again, welcome to Kindergarten Parent Orientation.
All right, so again, Welcome to our 2021-22 kindergarten orientation for Oakview Elementary. We're excited to tell you a little bit of the happenings that we have here at Oakview and about some of the things that you can expect when your child starts here in August. Also, just to let you know, we would love for this to be interactive and we would love to know what questions you have for us. Ms. Rushton, our technology integration specialist, is helping to facilitate this live session today. And so she is also going to be moderating the chat box within the YouTube video section. She's going to be typing something in just a moment, so it should pop up on your screen in the near future. Please utilize that chat feature to enter any questions that you may have. As Dr. Revis was talking within the video, we do have COVID mitigations in place this year. We don't have answers for what that mitigation is going to look like come August 2021. So at this time, we wouldn't be able to answer those questions other than to say that as we receive that guidance, it will be communicated to you. But just like this year, our goal is to make all of our students' experiences at school as fun and positive and normal as possible. And I really think that we've done a phenomenal job of doing that to the best of our abilities this year. So again, we won't be able to answer a lot of questions about COVID mitigations for August, but we would love to know what questions you have about kindergarten, if there's anything that we can help to kind of ease your worries. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into our presentation tonight. The first thing that I want to say to you is that as your child's teacher, you are their first, or as your child's parent, you are their first and most important teacher. At Oakview, we truly value our community of parents and family members and the impact that they have in their child's education here. We know that without your support and involvement in your child's education, that they would not reach the level of success that we see. So we value that, we support your input, and we really just want you to know how much we value your involvement here at this school.
Some things to practice before the first day of school. We put here on the slide just some kind of life skills that would be great for you to practice. Things like zipping jackets or opening snacks or lunch items independently. Those are some of the things that we see, especially at the beginning of the year, that would be great if you could work on ahead of time. I know several parents have practiced packing their child's lunch in a lunchbox and having them open it and try to put the juice straw in a juice box and open the different items that they bring on their own. So things like opening and closing their book bags on their own, just kind of teaching them and encouraging them that they're going to be expected to take things out of their book bag when they get to school and turn them in, and just kind of practicing those skills ahead of time would be really helpful. Also, using the restroom independently, that's not something that we can assist with. So just making sure that those things are in place and that they know that when they go into the restroom that we're not able to come in and facilitate in any way or touch them in that way. So we just ask that you practice that and make sure that they're independent in that. Also, some other things, more academic things to practice before coming to the first day of school. It's counting to 10. Some basic shapes, writing their first name legibly, writing their letter names and recognizing letter names and sounds and their colors. These are just some basic things that we'll kind of hit again for sure at the beginning of the year, but it certainly is helpful if they have that background knowledge when they get here.
During a typical school day, we do English language arts, which consists of phonics, shared reading, and writing. By the end of kindergarten, we hope that your child is able to read and write several sentences that's on a page. We do shared reading each and every day, so we get a poem and we read it over and over again, and we integrate that poem with whatever we're learning about in science or social studies or health. In math, by the end of kindergarten, they will be able to add and subtract within 5. They should be able to write their numbers 1 through 31, and they should be able to count to 100. We will also talk about 2D shapes and 3D shapes, and students will also be able to measure and do capacity. In our classroom, children learn by being active and engaged. If you get to come by our classrooms, you will see we do a lot of a mini lesson, like a whole group, and then we send those students out and they are working with their friends, and then we are pulling them and integrating and helping them to learn based on their levels. So if your child needs help with their letters, that's what we're working with. If they already know how to read, then we are helping them on some of their literacy skills. They also get to have choice centers in kindergarten, which means at the end of the day or some point in the day, they get to choose something that they want to work on. They might get to do blocks, they might get to play in the house center, they might get to get on the iPad, but this is a choice. We really believe that kids learn by doing and interacting, and we like to interact with them while they're learning. During the day, students have lunch. They can buy a school lunch or they can bring a lunch from home. We also do snack, and there will be a snack sign up when we have Meet the Teacher, or you will get a sign up genius. Then we also do recess, and they can bring a water bottle for when it's warm like it is right now. And then we do related arts, and our related arts consist of art, PE, which is gym, and they have to wear tennis shoes on those days, music, library, where they'll get to check out a book and bring it home each week, and then computer lab.
So Oakview has lots of volunteer opportunities for parents, and we are hoping and crossing our fingers that these things that are listed here in bullets are able to be utilized next year. Some of these things we weren't able to utilize this year because of COVID safety mitigations, but things like Lunch Bunch, which is where parents come in and relieve the teacher for lunch and they get to walk around and help students, open the things they need to open and watch them during that lunchtime. It's a great way to meet the students and to interact with the class. Again, that wasn't this year, but we're really hoping for next year. Classroom help, there's many different ways to help inside the classroom, and those things will be communicated to you by your child's individual teacher. They vary from teacher to teacher. Some things are the same grade-wide and some things are different. Being a room coordinator, this is kind of what you used to hear as the room mom, but someone that coordinates class parties, class events, class sign-ups. Most classes have 2 room coordinators, and this is a great way to get involved and to have a relationship with the teacher and meet other people and just to really be involved in a hands-on way. Reading tutors, this is a great way to get to know some of the other students in the school and to help students that need a little extra help with reading and to come in weekly to read with those students. And what you do during that time is often given to you by the teacher or by the school. They have a training that you go through to be a reading tutor. That's a great way to be involved. Field trip chaperones, crossing our fingers that we get to go on field trips next year. So we hope that will be in place, and chaperoning those field trips is a great way to be involved and get to have some good quality time with your child on a school event. Hoot Nanny is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's a ton of fun. It's kind of like a carnival. There's rides and there's prizes and there's raffles and there's all the things, all kinds of food. So like I said, a huge fundraiser for our school and a really fun thing to be a part of, to attend and to volunteer for. So we hope that will be able to take place next year as well. And there's lots of other volunteer opportunities. This year has been different, but we hope that next year will look a little more normal.
So Oakview has a wonderful extended day program, and that is after school care that starts right when the regular school day ends, and the registration for that is May 10th, and that is for new families coming into kindergarten. If you have a student that's already here, an older sibling, there's a sign up to sign up incoming kindergartners, siblings as well. Colleen Green is the head of the EDP program, and her email is attached here, and also we will send that out. If you have any more specific questions, you can direct those to her. So as far as dismissal, it begins at 2:15, and with our end of day announcements, we kind of wrap up our day, and we'll usually end with a class meeting to kind of talk about our day. So bus riders and walkers and daycare van riders will all leave the room at 2:15. This year we have held students in our rooms to dismiss with the car line just because of COVID mitigations. And then also we have 2 entrances. If you've ever driven on Godfrey Road and you've seen the different signs, the front entrance, if you're coming from Roker Mountain, is the first entrance that would be on your left. And that is where you can drop off and pick up if you have an older child. And the kindergarten entrance is if you keep going down Godfrey Road, there's a sign that says kindergarten entrance. So car riders, you can drop them off between 7 and 7:45, and our school day will start at 7:45. K-5 through 2nd grade students enter and exit from the kindergarten entrance. This entrance opens up at 7:15, which is 15 minutes later than the front entrance. And we really prefer that if you have just kindergarten through 2nd grade students, that they enter and exit from this entrance, just to keep our little kids, the little ones on this side of the building. But if they do want to eat breakfast, they can enter through that entrance and go eat breakfast in the cafeteria. If you have an older child here, 3rd through 5th grade, and your incoming kindergartner is their younger sibling, then they can enter and exit through the front entrance. If you don't have an older sibling, that entrance is open at 7, but we really prefer that you go through the other entrance. And this front entrance opens at 7 o'clock, and they can go straight into the cafeteria and wait or eat breakfast. Transportation with bus riders, all K-5 students and 1st grade wear bus tags to make sure they get on the correct bus, and this will be put on by the teacher, and then it will be taken off before they leave the bus. In order to pick up your bus rider at the bus stop, you will need your numbered dismissal tag, which you'll get in the packet at the beginning of the year. And if you don't have this, then they will not be able to get off the bus with you. And
Perfect. Ms. Connor's comments about transportation are a nice segue into safety at Oakview Elementary. Just to add a little bit more to what Ms. Connor said regarding the parent pickup tags. So just as a safety measure to ensure that when young children are kindergarten and 1st graders in Greenville County schools, that in order for that age child to get off the bus, there has to be an approved parent at pickup. And the way that we know that that's an approved adult is that they have the students coordinating parent pickup tag. So by having that number that matches their tag, the bus driver is able to verify right there in person that you are in fact able to get your student off the bus. Again, as a safety measure, if there's not an adult there to get the kindergarten or 1st grader off the bus driver returns them to school. The front office will contact the parent or the first number on the student's contact list so that the student can be picked up here. So again, just a safety measure that we have in place to really put that as a priority. A couple of other things about safety at Oakview. One is that all visitors and volunteers must show a photo ID each time they visit our school. That is not unique to Oakview. That is at all Greenville County schools. It's a requirement that in order for parents or any visitor to have access within our building, they either have to have a GCS approved badge, which all staff members would have, or they would have to be able to show a valid license or ID to show who they are, and then they would receive a visitor sticker that allows them to be on campus. So just make sure that you're aware of that, or if you have parents or grandparents or whoever that might be coming to campus, that they know that that is a procedure they'll be expected to follow. It's also important to note that all exterior doors are kept locked at all times. And we actually have roaming police officers in Greenville County schools that assist in that process to ensure that that safety measure is followed. So again, all exterior doors at any Greenville County school are going to remain locked. They can only be opened by a staff badge that has a coordinating code within the card to open those doors. And again, those roaming officers are constantly coming through, checking those doors just to maintain the security and safety of our students is our #1 priority in Greenville County schools. Just like our outside doors, all of our classroom doors are kept locked at all times as well. But it's important to note that it is not required for teachers to keep their doors closed. So there are teachers who prefer to keep their doors open when they teach. That's perfectly fine. But they do have to keep it in the locked position at all times so that if there ever was a need to close doors, that it was immediately locked and that would already be in place. Also, Ms. Young spoke a little bit about volunteer opportunities. Some levels of volunteer opportunities require a different type of clearance. So if you're wanting to work in any capacity with students in Greenville County schools, you are required to become a level 2 volunteer. So all volunteers must submit an online application and receive clearance by the school district before they can volunteer to work with students. That clearance is a background check, and that process for being approved as a volunteer in Greenville County schools is available on Greenville County Schools website. If you have more questions about becoming a volunteer at Oakview and what that process looks like, or if you have difficulty filling out that application, please feel free to reach out to our front office staff members, Joy McKinney or Lori White. they're more than happy to help walk you through that process. The next thing I want to talk about is Oakview's health room. So it's very important. One of the things that we need from you is to make sure that phone numbers are kept current, not just specific to the health room, but also in the front office. We need to make sure that for every student we have current phone numbers so that we can reach parents, whether or not we just need to reach out with information or if we have an emergency and need to contact you. Another really important piece of our communication tool that we use to reach out to parents is the Greenville County Schools backpack system. And so either when you registered your child or in the near future, you will be receiving communication from either Miss McKinney or Miss White in the front office about Greenville County Schools backpack program. And what that is an online system that not only houses your contact information, but it's also a really handy program. Where as your child gets older, you'll have access to their grades. As a kindergartner, you'll be able to see their lunch account, their attendance. Really and truly, it's just an amazing program that houses everything together that we highly encourage you to go ahead and get that process started now so that you are up to date on all communications from the school. Going back to the health room, one thing you need to know is that immunizations must be completed and a South Carolina immunization certificate must be turned into the health room by the first day of school. If you have questions regarding your child's immunization certificate, please feel free to reach out to Nurse Jane Danielson. She is more than happy to answer those questions that you have, and she can make sure to point you in the right direction if you need help with that. Another note is that students are not allowed to carry medications to school or at school. Parents must bring in medications to the nurse. We have forms and some paperwork that has to be completed if a child is going to take medicine at school, and they are not permitted to carry that in. So as a parent, if your child has a medical need or needs medication to be housed at school, you will need to physically bring that medication in. Be prepared to speak with Nurse Danielson to provide her a little bit of insight about that medication or your child's medical need. Again, she's happy to talk through that to make sure that we're able to meet your child's needs to the best of our abilities. And then if we need to house medication on the school property, then we'll fill out that paperwork and make sure that all of that is done as it should be. Also, health forms can be found on the school website under Health Room. So our website is fairly easy to navigate. So please feel free to go to that Health Room tab, get a feel for that paperwork. Necessary paperwork for prescription medication, again, must be completed before they can be kept in the Health Room. Examples of those types of medications would be inhalers, EpiPens, Diastat, or any other medication that would need to be kept here.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the supply list, and we put that here on the slide for you so that you can see it. This will also be on the Oakview website, and I know people like to shop early, so it's here for you, and it's updated and is current for next school year. So if you want to just take a minute and look through, again, this will be posted on our website. One thing is, I think it's on here that we want to highlight that's important is to send in a pair of headphones for your child that are not earbuds. We do prefer the over-the-ear headphones. You run into a lot of trouble with the earbuds falling out. They're not comfortable. And whatnot. So if you could purchase a pair of over-the-ear headphones to send in for when we use computers or iPads in the classroom, or when they go to computer lab for related arts, that would be very helpful. Again, they're here. The supplies are here for you to look at, and if you have any questions at all, you can certainly call the front office, and they can send us questions that you have. But these are just kind of the basic supplies. Anything that's not on this list will be provided by us or by the school.
All right, meet the teacher. You hopefully will get to meet all of us and some of the other kindergarten teachers on August 12th. This is tentative. We are not sure if this will be live through a Google Meet or through you coming in to school and actually seeing the classroom. We really hope that we will be back to a regular schedule, but go ahead and mark your calendars for August 12th. If that changes, we will definitely let you know.
All right, and then just a last kind of final note before we start our Q&A session. Please, again, be sure to visit our Oakview Elementary School website. Again, it's very easy to navigate. Most information that you'll need or questions that you need to be answered are right there at your fingertips. Also, feel free to reach out and go onto the kindergarten websites and look at some parent newsletters and go ahead and familiarize yourself with that website platform so that you're familiar with that process when your student starts in August. And also be sure to add us on Instagram. So we work really hard to keep our social media current, and Instagram is the primary platform that we use to do that. We are hashtag only at Oakview. We certainly feel like a lot of what we do here is unique. And so we would love for you to follow us on Instagram, see what's going on here, and go ahead and get your child excited for joining us on their kindergarten and educational journey. So at this time, I've heard Miss Rushton at the keyboard maybe responding to some questions, but she is going to start fielding those questions to me, Miss Young, Miss Connor, and Miss Cook, and we are going to do our very best to answer those questions for you this evening. So Miss Rushton will read out your questions to us, and then whoever's best suited to answer it will kind of take the lead on that. If we don't answer it, please feel free to type in kind of a follow-up question, and we'll go from there.
So the first question that I'm going to kind of pick out of the list is how many students are typically in each class?
Yeah, so depending on the school year, our enrollment can look a little bit different. Again, this year with COVID mitigations in place, our enrollment was certainly lower in order to maintain social distancing. But really, kindergarten through 5th grade, our enrollment varies by grade level and by student enrollment in that particular grade level. Roughly in kindergarten, we're looking anywhere between about 20 to 24 students. But please note that there is a teacher and a teacher assistant in the classroom. So it's 2 adults for anywhere ranging between 20 and 24 students.
Okay, and we were talking just a little bit in the chat about parent backpack and making sure that all the details for each parent is in so that they get communication. Can maybe one of you talk a little bit about how you communicate with parents weekly?
We do a Monday memo, so depending on the teacher, they will send it out Friday afternoon or over the weekend. And that Monday memo just tells you what exactly is going on. If you go onto our website, currently you can see all of our Monday memos. And we also, I know for my class, like we also do a classroom Instagram page. And that way you can see what your child is doing, because I know most of the time when they come home and you say, what did you do today? They cannot answer that question. And they'll say, I don't know. And I promise you we have done a lot in kindergarten. And then also, we're always just an email away or a phone call away. So if you have any questions, you can send it in their folder. We have a home to school folder, or you can send us an email or even call and leave us a message, and we will get back to you at our nearest convenience.
Awesome.
Can I add something to
Yeah,
that, Mr.
absolutely.
I would say at the beginning of the year, most of the time, in person, meet the teacher, we'll ask for email addresses and ask if that email address can be shared with our room coordinator and with PTA. And so around that time is when we collect email addresses from mom, from dad, whoever you would like to be on the communication. So I know I've had some families that say, we only want mom to get emails from school, and some families have said we want mom and dad and grandma to get the emails from our class. So at the beginning of the year, all of us make a list, an email listserv that we send out our weekly emails to, and whatever information we need to push out throughout the week goes to that listserv. So you have the option to choose who you want to be on that listserv. It can be one parent, both parents, a grandparent, or if you have a different caretaker, that person's email address can also be included. So nobody will miss communication.
Awesome. Okay, so one of the questions also was about technology in the classroom. What type is used and how often?
So we have right now student iPads and laptops, and we do have Chromebooks for each student this year. I know in my classroom we usually have one technology rotation for literacy and one technology rotation for math, and then it can be a choice center as well. And those rotations can be anywhere from like 12 to 15 minutes usually. So I would say, between 35 minutes probably of technology time a day on computer or iPads. Plus also, obviously the teacher is using a smart board and different technology tools integrated into different lessons. But as far as individual use, it's computers and iPads.
Ms. Connor, would you talk a little bit about maybe how y'all find the balance between technology use but also hands-on materials and instruction?
Definitely. So we definitely think that hands-on learning and obviously writing and manipulating and different things in math is super important, not just for fine motor skills, but also just because, I mean, they're going to have a lot of written work throughout their school career, so getting them ready for that. I will say using technology is great, but I think we all can find the balance that, like, a lot of our rotations are partner games or independent work or reading, not on an iPad, but an actual book. So I think it's a great balance, especially like math also. We do a ton of partner games, manipulatives. So the technology is important, but it's definitely, I would say probably more so hands-on than technology each day.
Awesome. Okay, so another question was about whether or not they can walk their student to class the first day of school.
Yeah, so I'll be glad to answer that. We hope more than anything that the first day of school parents are able to walk their students to class. We would love to see that. We certainly, after that first day, really look to get students into the routine of some independence and walking by themselves. But that first day of school is special, and we value those special moments at Oakview. That certainly felt different this year, so we hope more than anything that that is back to normal next year, that parents are able to walk in on that first day, take those precious pictures, and see their teacher once again before their kindergartner starts their very first day of school.
Another question just popped up, and I know I'm kind of jumping around for those of you listening, I'm kind of jumping through the chat, but we'll get to everybody. Another question popped up about how much outside time do students get during the school day?
Sure, I'll take this. So we have a 30-minute recess every day, and we do our best to be outside at every recess if possible, pending weather conditions. If it's raining, we don't go outside, and if it's above a certain temperature or below a certain temperature, we do not go outside. But for the most part, we put our jackets on and we go outside, or we shed a jacket and go outside because we really value that time. When the weather is nice, we also try to go outside here and there as lessons permit to be able to learn outside, to do different things outside. We do a lot of nature walks, and we'll walk to our butterfly garden and do different things outside that we can where we can learn outside and enjoy that sunshine. And my students were just shouting out today about we can get our vitamin D. So we try to utilize that as much as possible and as much as our lessons will permit. But we believe in recess, and they need it, and it's good for them, and we will do that every day if possible based on weather.
Okay, so Mrs. Welch, there's a question about nut butters being allowed at lunchtime.
Yeah, so we have this parent ask frequently regarding student allergies. The one thing I will say is that we allow students to bring, if parents are packing lunch and students are bringing lunch from home, whatever parents choose to send is permitted. But we also understand that we have students with allergies, and the importance of having safety mitigations in place to ensure that student's needs are met. So what I will say is that while yes, nut butters are allowed, peanut butters, any things of that nature are allowed at school, we also work very closely with our health room, our custodial staff, and the cafeteria staff to make sure that everyone is aware of the allergies that we have in our building, and that we have proper cleaning protocols in place to ensure, again, that students' needs are met if they do have an allergy to a particular food. And I'll also say, like I mentioned, Nurse Jane Danielson earlier, she is hyper aware of students' medical needs in this building and is very capable of meeting those needs. I encourage you, if you're hesitant about allergies, hesitant about how those protocols are followed, please, again, feel free to reach out to her. I really feel like she'll be able to answer your questions and put your mind at ease that those medical needs could be met. But yes, all foods are permitted in the cafeteria.
I'm going to kind of combine a couple of questions. We've had some things asked about reading instruction, so about phonics-based instruction, and then also asking about what the expectations are for students in the middle, and then again at the end of the year as far as their reading and writing levels are concerned.
So we do we do phonics. I would say it's definitely phonics based. It's a huge building block and a puzzle piece to the whole literacy curriculum. And I would say phonics are incorporated all year long at the beginning of the year. It's letter sounds and letter names. And then we move into blends and digraphs and decoding words. And that's a huge piece of reading, but also, I mean, it's more than that. We use Fountas Pinnell for our reading system. And it incorporates all aspects of reading, inferencing, using pictures. So it's definitely a puzzle piece, and we do phonics, and that improves all year long. Gets harder. So the phonics start very simple, and then we build on top of that all year. And by the end of the year, your child should be expected to read all of our sight words. Which are 1 to 5 letter words that they will see throughout all the books that they're going to be reading in their classroom. They'll be expected to read at the end of the year on an independent level B, which is an instructional C, which means at our table they're working on C books by themselves. They should be able to read a B book. And a B book is really very simple, very picture based, usually has 1 to 2 sentences, simple sentences per page, and they should be able to accurately read those words on the page 95% by themselves if they're an independent B. So it sounds like a lot if they come in not knowing letter sounds, but they really do learn so much, and they learn a lot by the end of the year, and they meet that goal.
I'm going to jump on and just say I know probably a lot of the students will come and they will already know numerous high-frequency words or sight words. We interchange those. And maybe they are already reading, and that is fantastic. We will be working with them and pushing them into the next level. I know especially as a teacher, we want them to succeed just as well as you do. So we will start working with them on books that have more words, and we will be working more on those blends and bossy R while they're reading so that they can get to the next level. And then we will also be working on making connections to their own life when they're reading, or telling the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So we will definitely challenge them. If they are already a reader, they will be pulled individually, and we'll be working with them. Don't panic if your child is still learning their letters. We will also be working with them. We just really encourage that they know those letters and letter sounds by the time they come to kindergarten, because it is like a building block. I always say a baby has to crawl before they can walk, so they have to know their letters before they can read. So it's really important. But we will definitely make sure that they're on the right track for kindergarten and then going into first grade.
Okay, couple more questions have come in. One in particular about after school, and I think what they mean is after school as if they stay for EDP.
Yeah.
So asking about the routine for that. Do they do homework there? Is there snack provided? About how many children are in our EDP program, especially at the kindergarten level?
Sure, I don't mind speaking to that. So our EDP program is referred to as EDP, but it's our extended day program. And what that procedure looks like is if you choose for your child to participate in EDP, again, many of your questions may be better answered by Colleen Green, who is our EDP director. But if you choose for your child to participate, you complete the application process, and they are accepted into EDP. What that process looks like is at the end of the school day, during dismissal, we have a procedure for making sure that our EDP students, for example, my 2 children are in the EDP program, that their teachers know that they are EDP, and then there is someone designated to make sure they get to the appropriate location after school. Also, to answer your question about homework, yes, so in our EDP program, students do their homework, students eat snack, and students get a lot of outdoor play and activity. I would say all of our children who are in EDP love it. It's an extension of the school day. It's a blessing for our parents to have that affordable option in the afternoons, but also the convenience factor of the child being able to stay here, getting that outdoor play, getting that snack, that homework completed. We do encourage our parents that if their homework is being done at EDP, that they're still checking that at home and making sure they're aware of what their student is working on. But it is quite the blessing for that to be done right after school so that the child can get outside and play and burn off that energy. extended day program lasts until 6 p.m. So the student would be dismissed into EDP at 2:15 at dismissal, and then you can your child can attend EDP as late as 6 o'clock each day. Ms. Rushton, did that pretty much answer the question that they had?
About how many children are
Oh,
in.
perfect. That depends on the age group. Again, just like those numbers vary in our grade levels of classrooms, it also varies in EDP and also on staffing. So it's important for us to maintain those ratios. Ms. Green, again, would be able to provide more specifics on exactly how many children will be accepted per grade level into the extended day program. But again, a lot of that is based on ratio, what's developmentally appropriate, and also staffing for those ages of children.
Okay, good. There's a couple of health-related questions that came through, so I'm just gonna kind of ask that all at once. In particular, a parent has a son with asthma, and so the question is about how we as teachers are trained to identify those signs of breathing trouble, so that we can assist in inhalers quickly.
Yeah, so a couple of things in that regard. One is, as Greenville County Schools employees, prior to the school year beginning, we have to participate in safety modules, and many of those are medically based. So things regarding EpiPens, asthma, different medical conditions that are frequent in our classrooms, and things that we need to be aware of. So those are modules that we complete annually. But also, if we have a student that's been assigned to a classroom who has a medical need and has a medication that's being housed in a health room, in particular, inhalers and EpiPens, teachers are trained personally by Nurse Jane Danielson. So not only does Nurse Jane know that information very well within the health room, she goes to the teacher one-to-one and explains what the child's needs are, shows them their actual medications or what they might need, and then walks them through that process and explains to them, this is what this might look like this. If this happens, this is what you need to do. And then another layer of that is Nurse Jane checking in frequently throughout the year. If a teacher has a question regarding a student's medical need, they can ask Nurse Jane, but also Nurse Jane just following up consistently throughout the year to make sure that everything is maintaining and staying the way that it should, or if any changes need to be made or communications with parents need to be made, she does that as well. So I would say that that is something that we take very serious at Oakview, and Nurse Jane just does a phenomenal job of maintaining health and safety at the school.
And I'm just gonna kind of tack onto that for just a minute, reading the second part of the kind of health line questioning. I've put some links in the chat to both our health room, to our EDP program and whatnot, but specifically this question about communicating with nurse. Probably phone call would be the best, because she is there to answer these questions for you, but certainly an email would also be a way to communicate with Nurse Jane.
Certainly.
Okay. So a couple more questions. Specifically about homework, teachers. So how much homework should kindergarten parents expect? And just to kind of tag onto that, what kind of homework will they be getting?
Sure, so I'll take that one. We do assign homework, and we all assign our homework at the beginning of the week, and they have until Friday to complete their homework. And it is very manageable. It's not that your child's going to come home and spend an hour or 2 hours on homework. It's all on typically one page. Every now and again there is a back page or an additional sheet to complete, but it's listed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Their homework on Friday is simply to read their poetry notebook to someone in their family over the weekend. It is extremely manageable. It covers the literacy skills that we're practicing during the week. It covers math skills that we're practicing during the week. Some examples are, that they may have to write the 2 sight words that we're learning that week 3 times each, one, in a different color. Or for math, there might be 5 to 6, little math questions based on whatever we're learning that week. Or there might be some things to cut out and paste in the appropriate place. But it's very manageable. It shouldn't take more than 15 to 20 minutes, per night. And we do ask that you read, with your child 20 minutes per night. We understand that some nights happen and things don't always work out, but reading with your child is really, really important, and we really encourage that. It may look like your child reading to you. It may look like you reading to them. It may look like you alternating. You read a page, they read a page. It may be that one night you read, the next night they read. But we do encourage that nightly reading, and we use a reading log where we ask you to log what you've read this year. Our reading logs have looked a little different, and it's just simply coloring in a little, themed picture that for each month that you read for 20 minutes that night. So reading 20 minutes per night, and then the homework that we assign again on Monday. And that we do that knowing that you have life and that life happens, and you may know that you have a busy schedule on Thursday, so you go ahead and do your homework for Thursday on Wednesday. Or I have students I know that complete it all on Monday because they have different things to accommodate with parents' work schedules or after school activities. So we do it that way on purpose so that you have the autonomy to complete it at what's convenient for you.
Okay, we've got a couple more. One is specifically about our ESOL students, so English as Second Language. We also call those multi-language learners. Will they be tested for as an ESOL student if they were not born in the United States?
So students who may be eligible for ESOL services are identified through some questionnaires that are filled out when you enroll your student at the school. But also we have an ESOL teacher at the school. Her name is Dina Daniel. And she oversees those processes to determine whether or not a student needs additional testing to identify their level of English proficiency. And then based on their level of proficiency, she then, following protocols of the district, determines the level or frequency of the service that child needs. So again, that of course, if a student needs services and they qualify for services, they will absolutely be eligible for them. But that language proficiency piece happens upon identification, entering kindergarten, and then the level of services is determined at that time.
Okay, and the very last question that we have for tonight is in regards to like behavior management in the classroom. So how do we handle discipline specifically in a kindergarten classroom?
I think we probably all can maybe say a little bit on this one, but I know all together, all the kindergarten classrooms have a like a clip chart, and they all start in the middle, which is considered like the green, and then they can either move up or move down. So if they made a really good choice, we might tell them to move their clip up. But we really expect those behaviors, so it's always a privilege for them to move their clip up. And then they can get off. I know in my classroom they can work their way up to pink, and if they get into pink, then they get to go in the treasure box. My kids will tell you that I'm a little tough, so they don't get to go in the treasure box as much as they should, but I just expect those behaviors and just try to reward all of them when they have a really good day. If they ever move their clip down, I know that all of us will be the first to send you an email or call you and just let you know your child will never go home on what they see as a bad color without hearing from us. We definitely want to have that communication with you. I don't know if anybody else wants to jump on.
Definitely the clip chart is a piece of behavior management, but I think all of us know that it's just a piece, and that we don't live and die by the clip chart, that it's more about creating a loving community, and establishing those expectations and routines, and knowing that if they're not followed, there will be a consequence. But really, when the classroom community has been established, that's really takes care of a lot of behavior management issues.
Well, I'll add that I know all of us use just a lot of different varieties of positive reinforcement. That's really how we run our classrooms the most. And I know all of us use different things. I know in my room we have a compliment chart, and as we get compliments throughout the day, we erase the letter, and at the end of the word, when all the letters are erased, we have a celebration of some sort, and that gives our class just the ability to work together as a whole to try to achieve a goal. And so we really focus on trying to focus on the positive behavior and complimenting positive behavior and recognizing positive behavior versus focusing on the negative behavior. And like Ms. Connor said, that leads to our classroom environment and just developing those relationships with the children. And a lot of it takes care of itself in that way, when we have those positive relationships and connections with our students. So we do use the clip charts, but like she said, we don't live and die by them. They're there and they serve their purpose, but we use a lot of other forms of positive reinforcement as well.
Yeah, and I would add that as a school, we really have created a focus on social and emotional learning, because we truly understand the importance of that being just as big of a piece, if not a bigger piece of the puzzle to a child's success. So we, of course, value academics, and we're going to push your child academically, but we also want to teach our students to be good people and to be self-regulated and to be kind and to know how to problem solve and all of the skills that we know we need to be successful in the world. So our teachers really place a large emphasis and big push on their day on social emotional learning, and again, teaching children how to work together, teaching children how to be kind, and also understanding that we work very hard to not hold, we understand that we can't hold students accountable for behavior that we haven't taught them. So we are going to teach expectations, we're going to model expectations, we're going to provide visuals, whatever students need in order to understand the expectations. And then, like each of our teachers have talked about today, when we know that a student has been taught those expectations and those choices continue to be made not to follow them, we're going to look to create logical consequences, because again, we want to correct behavior long term for students and not just police it in the moment. So of course, like Ms. Young just said, clip charts serve a purpose, but we also know that just like our children are individuals in their academics, they are also individuals in where they are as behavior, with their behavior. So we're going to teach them what they need to know, we're going to meet them where they are, and we're just going to ensure that their social and emotional needs are met through behavior management.
Okay, so that kind of wraps up all of our questions. If somebody wants to say good night.
Sure. Again, just like we welcomed you, we hope that this was enjoyable. I enjoyed this. It felt like we had a great turnout. It felt like y'all had great questions this evening. It just felt very personable for us to be able to really speak about the things that we have going on at Oakview. We are so excited for your children to join us in August. We are excited for our new family members to join our community. Oakview's community of families is unlike any other that you'll find, and I can assure you that you will meet so many people. Your children are going to develop friendships that will last a lifetime here. So we're looking forward to you joining our community. Parents who have been a part of our Oakview community, we look forward to adding another one of your little ones to the mix and meeting their needs in kindergarten as well. So again, we appreciate you joining us. Please feel free, if you have questions that were not answered tonight, again, feel free to reach out to me, Meredith Welch, Assistant Principal. Joy McKinney and Lori White can answer questions regarding backpack or paperwork in the front office. And Nurse Jane Danielson can, of course, answer questions about the health room. So again, we're glad you came. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you in August. Good night.